Anita Marks joins us on the Bobby V Sports Tech hotline from the Daily Wager 98.7, one of the best handicappers out there. Anita, how are you?
Hi, Anita.
I'm great. The Super Bowl can't get here fast enough.
Is it your favorite time of year? I mean, they say that 50 million people are going to gamble $16 billion on one game.
It's unbelievable, right?
It's crazy.
Listen, I wouldn't say it's my favorite. I like Sundays where there's a variety of games to dabble into. But I full disclosure, and you guys know this, I was on your show before the season began. I picked the Eagles to win the Super Bowl. I got them at 25-1. About 2 or 3 weeks into the season, I want to say they were like 3-0. Dropped down to 11-1. I doubled up on it. So I've got quite a bit of change, right? I've got quite a bit of change on the Eagles.
Well, we've known you to be rolling with Mahomie for about 4 or 5 years now. Are you telling me that this 25-1, then 11-1 double down is going to totally change your vibe on old Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs?
Listen, I love Patrick Mahomes. It has nothing to do with Patrick Mahomes. This has everything to do with just how good the Eagles are. Where do the Kansas City Chiefs have an advantage against the Eagles? It's at the quarterback with Patrick Mahomes. It's at the tight end with Travis Kelce. Believe it or not, it's their punter, Townsend, who averages 50 yards per punt. I think his longest was 76 this season. And it's Andy Reid as the head coach. Those are only the 4, I think, areas where Kansas City has a leg up on the Eagles. Other than that, especially on the defensive side of the ball, guys, defensive line, linebackers, safeties, corners. I mean, this defense is just, it's ridiculous. So I think there's only so much Patrick Mahomes is going to be able to do against this defense.
Isn't it amazing? I saw the breakdown of how many points were scored and all of that stuff, and it's all almost equal between these two teams. I mean, like you brought up some of the things that might differentiate the two teams and how we got here. In your mind, can one or the other team play a tougher schedule to get here and be physically more roughed up? We know Mahomes is beat up, but Lane Johnson's beat up. So, what do you look at as far as how attrition has involved both of these teams?
Well, definitely, the Eagles have had the easier road. In the regular season, the NFC East played the easiest schedule of all divisions. And then, of course, we saw, they beat the Giants and the 49ers by an average of 27 points or more. So, they've definitely had the easier road to get here. They're the healthier team. Now you want to sit back and say, okay, well, whose injury, whose ailment is affecting which quarterback more? Is it, we definitely haven't seen Jalen Hurts throw the ball with the velocity and the accuracy since before the shoulder injury, but the escape, ability to escape that pass rush, and Hassan Reddick and all those guys that get Hargraves and Graham and all these guys that are going to be coming after Mahomes. So, and then you've got to take a look at the wide receiving core, right? Because Hardman is on IR, right? And then don't know Kadarius Toney dealing with an ankle. And then you have Juju Smith-Schuster who's dealing with a knee. So how healthy are they going to be? I think that's going to be an issue. And then you've got the advantage. I want to say the tallest DB for Kansas City is like 5'10", 5'11", maybe on a good day in the morning, 5'9" at night. So he's going to have to defend A.J. Brown. There's such a size differential there that A.J. Brown is just going to be a man amongst boys. I just think when you look at this matchup, I think the Eagles check all the boxes, guys.
Let's talk props. And I know that you bet props like most of us buy chewing gum going through the checkout aisle. You just see one you like and then you pick it up. All right, give me some of your faves. What are your top 3 possible props for the Super Bowl?
Okay, number 1, Travis Kelce, anytime touchdown. There are records to be broke here. Number 1, if Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes score 2 touchdowns, they surpass Tom Brady and Gronk for the most touchdown duo in the postseason in Super Bowl history. If Travis Kelce scores 1 touchdown, he surpasses Gronk and becomes the second best behind Jerry Rice at 22. I'm sorry, I've been taping shows all day.
Is it Philly cheesesteak? Have you had any like hot, spicy Philly cheesesteak?
Take a drink of water.
Lunch.
Take a drink of water. Do you
Sorry,
have some?
I've been recording shows all day, so
You and
I'm
that
losing my
new
voice.
record
I
album.
think you're a little choked up about Travis Kelce
Yeah,
breaking
it's like-
Gronk's record.
so that's first and foremost. Kelce anytime touchdown. Number 2, I love Devontae Smith over receiving yards. I want to say it's somewhere around like 52 or 54. Ever since Hurts has his shoulder injury, he's been peppering the left side of the field. That's where the majority of Devontae Smith, that's where the majority he runs his routes. He was averaging 9 targets a game up into the 49ers game. So I think Devontae Smith has a big game. And also, I love Miles Sanders here as well. Thank you. Somebody's handing me some water. I love Miles Sanders here as well. He's been on the shelf because the last 2 games have been blowouts. So he's rested. He's ready to go behind that offensive line. I think I like over rushing yards for Miles Sanders as well.
Again, how do you see the Chiefs dealing with everything that everybody's tried to deal with all season long? I mean, really, I think the Eagles with Jalen Hurts have only been beaten once this season. The other 2 times were Minshew. So in your mind, what do you think the Chiefs need to do to try to hurry up Jalen Hurts or to try to get to this offense?
I think the only way the Kansas City Chiefs win this game is if they slow down the game. They eat up time of possession. They keep the Philadelphia Eagles offense off the field. I just don't know if they can do that, guys. I really don't. I just think this Eagles defense is that good. And I know there's some question marks. I know Brandon Ayuk's been out there talking a lot of crap, saying if Brock Purdy would not have gone out, that they would have exposed their secondary. We'll see. I just don't. That with that defensive line, 1 game to go, Patrick Mahomes not 100%. That offensive line, nothing really to write home about. That wide receiving core banged up, not 100%. And we're talking about Travis Kelce, and yes, I do believe Kelce has a big game because I think he's really going to be it and the guy that is going to get the most targets. But in order for Kelce to have that middle of the field that's open, you need a deep ball threat who's going to take the top off the defense. That's going to open up the middle of the field in that like 10 to 15 yard range, right? And do they have that with all the injuries? I don't think so. So there's just so many question marks here. I mean, I think Kansas City is going to have to play a near perfect game, and also they're going to have to eat up time of possession, slow the game down, keep the offense off the field, and win the time of possession battle. I think that's the only way. In order for them to win, I think they're going to have to run the football. And I just don't think that they're going to be able to do that against the Eagles defense.
Do you advise or do you play any of what color the Gatorade is, how long the national anthem is, some of these props that have nothing to do with the actual game of playing football, but are a fun and kind of a thing every single Super Bowl?
I play them for fun. But I mean, the ones that I really love, again, are Kelce anytime touchdown. I also like Jalen Hurts over rushing yards. I'm also going to play the Eagles minus 6.5. So I think the Eagles win by at least 10, guys. Unfortunately, I have to go. I have to record one more segment. I'm at MSG right now. I'm so sorry, guys. You got one more question for me before I go?
Is the Pro Bowl dead?
Yes. You got even a question. Did you guys watch? I didn't watch.
I watched a little bit of it. It was
watch the
garbage.
highlights, the lowlights. Yeah,
it was great.
There we go, guys. Eagles are going to win by 10. Lay the 6.5. I think you could get it at like plus 165.
Beautiful. Go do what you got to do.
Anita.
Thank you, Anita.
All right, guys. Take care. Bye bye.
All right, bye-bye. Everybody, I'm looking at everybody online right now, and they're totally over under. I mean, everybody's split. All the people, the prognosticators are because this is such a close game. Like I said, both teams are 16-3. Both teams have scored 546 points. I mean, very, very close when it comes down to it. But here's the thing that I just saw today: Mahomes is practicing, has practiced all week, and he has not been in any kind of scratch or anything. So there's no way this guy doesn't play, and so I just think that. everybody wants to win this game. I mean, especially the Chiefs have so much. I think the Eagles, being the fact that a lot of these guys weren't in the game that they won a few years ago.
2017. I was going to bring this up. Yeah,
I think there's such a turnover. And I think that most of these guys on the Chiefs, this is probably their last hurrah for some of these guys, especially some of the older players. They were talking. I saw Andy Reid when he was walking by some of the Eagles. He was hugging those guys that he used to coach.
Yeah.
But as far as I think Andy Reid and him being here before, that says a lot to me, because the preparation leading up to this, some of the Eagles, it's going to be overwhelming. You know that when you walk into the Super Bowl. I mean, the World Series, being a World Series champion was a little bit different, because it just the playoffs carried into the World Series. It's just one game after another after another. And yes, sold out games seems to screw some people up. I didn't feel it at all. I was kind of in my own little world like I've always been. But I think for these guys, the magnitude, like I've said before, and I learned this in the first round in the NLCS, that the buying of the tickets, the trying to worry about. I didn't worry about it during the World Series. I was like, listen, you guys got to fend for yourself now. Yeah, I mean, I did everything I could during the NLCS, and obviously in baseball you have more rounds now. Football you have more rounds now.
Right.
But these guys, both of these teams, especially the Chiefs, have been through it. So they've probably, listen, everything else is on hold. We got to win the Super Bowl game. It's one more game. I think it'll be more difficult for the Eagles, and I honestly, I think turnovers are a big thing. You gotta hold on to the ball. And Mahomes has not been intercepted during the postseason, even though he was injured, and you thought that might change things. I think that's a huge thing, and I agree with Anita. You got to keep the Eagles off the field. I think the Eagles' offense is the difference in the game.
The one thing I totally agree with Anita is Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy have such more mileage in games like this than Sirianni and his staff.
Yeah.
And to make those split decisions, especially in the second half, I'd totally lean to the coaching staff of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Like, if things are going wrong for the Chiefs, I think they have a better chance of righting the ship.
That's a great point.
I think if you're down 2 scores and you're the Eagles at halftime, you got to be panicking. How are we going to get those 2 scores back to get us even with them or take the lead? But it's those final 30 minutes, all of a sudden time is your enemy.
Yeah. And
I think that Andy Reid is just he's coached and managed so many more games than Sirianni. And I could be dead wrong. I mean, listen, I think the Eagles are going to win the game because I think they're the better team, and I think they've been the better team all year. But man, the Chiefs are just one team that you never know what they're going to come up with, what ridiculous schemes they'll come up with. Have they been saving plays that we haven't even seen during the postseason so far that they're going to break out?
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
That hook and ladder that they broke out in the last game.
Watch out for that.
This is the type of team where, man, they seem like they're a lot looser when it comes to we're going to pull out all the stops just to win the game. At the end of the day, it's about winning ugly versus they don't care about covering the spread or any other BS. They just want to have the higher score at the end of this game, and now they're in a position to do it. 2 out of the last 3 years.
And even though Andy Reid has been there a bunch, even though Patrick Mahomes has signed up for a long time, has been there a couple times, even though Travis Kelce has been there, just like Sirianni, you never know if you're ever going to get back, so don't waste these moments.
That's a great point. And if you're Travis Kelce, he's a guy who's had his own reality show. He's a totally different bird. He could win this Super Bowl and be like, I retire. Maybe there's a couple other guys on the team. I've had too many concussions. The reality is what you don't know is what you don't know. What guys do when they react after winning a big game like this, maybe for the second time, and they go, Andy Reid might quit after this game.
Yep.
That guy's not getting any younger.
Yep.
So all of a sudden everything changes, and that's the one thing from year to year. We thought, oh man, Tom Brady's team's going to have a great season. They're awful. They're awful this year. So you just don't know from year to year how teams are going to react. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. Joe Valerio is next. We'll take it from his perspective. He covers the Chiefs. He's played in the NFL. We'll be right back.